Well, March Madness is upon us earlier than normal, but we're sure excited to be a part of it, and kind of a culmination of a season, and it's an exciting time. It's a great event in a fantastic venue in a quote-unquote world-class city, I guess, where a lot of people love to come and for entertainment, and certainly our conference tournament hopefully is the centerpiece of that. But it's we're coming off a tough loss, obviously. We'll be playing in the first round. We'll get the first round bye and then play the winner of San Jose and New Mexico. And kind of ironic that those were the last two teams that we had just played. So there's certainly a lot of familiarity for us and for whomever our opponent is. So, but we had coming off a good practice. We're excited to get down there and try to defend our title.
Can you just briefly, if it's New Mexico, what do you have to do better than the last game?
Well, if it's New Mexico, certainly we've got to cut down on our turnovers. That was a big problem, certainly that night, and not only just the turnovers, but it led to, I believe, 12 points of theirs. We got to finish plays, and when I say finish, certainly it starts with finishing around the basket. The first half, I believe we had 6 or 7 literally point-blank shots that, you shoot them 100 times, you probably make them 100 times, but we missed 6 or 7 of them. And so some of that, I think maybe they sped us up with their length and athleticism. Some of that, it has to be concentration. One of them for sure slipped out of one of our guys' hands. And then the second half, we missed another three for sure. So that, you got to be able to finish those plays. And then, we get up 4, Diogo makes a big three. And the first half, we had, I think we gave up 7 offensive boards on 13 or 14 missed shots. Second half, we were much better that way. We only gave up 2, but one of them was a big one, right? And so, and then you got to give them credit. They made some big shots. I didn't think we didn't shoot the ball exceptionally well by any stretch, but I thought they made some tough shots. Number 22 for them, number 10 for them, who was shooting 22% from the 3, goes 3 for 4. I thought their center, Manigault, played very, very well on his senior night, made a couple tough shots right away, hits a 3, and he had only made 5 threes in league play, I think 5 for 13 going into the game. So you got to give them credit too. They're a very talented team, we all know this, and they made some plays, and we didn't make enough of them. We left a lot of plays out on the floor that night.
And then the San Jose, if it's San Jose, you did a really good job against Knight and against their shooting in the game here in Logan.
Seneca Knight can really, really get it going, and he was coming off a 37-point performance at Colorado State, and they have 3 guys that I believe had scored over 30 points in a game this year, but we were outstanding that night. On our senior night, played with a ton of energy, ton of poise, jumped out, 17-0 or 19-0 to start the game, and kind of never looked back. So either way, there's some similarities in how they play, in that they want to get up and down. We got to really guard the ball. We got to rebound well, and then both teams kind of make it chaotic on defense, and so we got to handle the ball. And obviously against San Jose, we didn't turn it over, but we certainly did against New Mexico.
Being made third team, and then made the defensive team as well. Can you just talk about his rise? We talked about Abel Porter. Bean came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden it became this defensive menace. You just talk about what it's taken for him to get to where he is now.
Well, players, obviously they got to put the time in, and he's got tremendous desire and tremendous. He's got this burning desire to be a phenomenal basketball player, and it's easy to say that. A lot of guys say they do, but then their actions don't back that up, and his actions do back that up, and puts a lot of time in the gym. With coaches, by himself, with student manager, whoever he can get to come in and rebound, and sometimes he just comes in on his own. But he's a tough kid. You can't teach. It's hard to teach the toughness that he has. Broke his nose this year, twice has his teeth knocked in, doesn't miss a game. He's had ankle issues all year, and obviously that slowed him down for a little stretch. But now he's back, better than ever, and so. He's very, very coachable. He wants to be coached. He wants to be held accountable. And so he has all those intangibles, along with he's a very talented kid. You can't dismiss that. His 2-footed pop, his quick twitch. He just gets off the floor so fast. when he goes to get those rebounds and he just explodes. And that's a hard thing to teach, but he busts his tail in the weight room too, and his explosiveness is certainly a lot greater than it was even a year ago, or certainly greater than it was 2 years ago when we got hired. So he's the total package that way, but the exciting part is I think he's got a lot of room to grow still, and that's what I think is very, very exciting for his sake and for all Aggie fans.
The tournament, you got some new guys coming in this year to be a part of the Mountain West Conference tournament. What do you tell them as their first experience when everybody's just upping their game a notch to get a chance to play in the championship?
Yeah, I mean, just that everyone, it's always it's an exciting time of year. First of all, you can feel it, right? March Madness. Although, a week later, there's a lot of teams that are already done. So I think we're the first tournament, right? So it maybe has a little different feeling because of that. But it's kind of like a clean slate for everybody. And I think you see teams that maybe have been struggling sometimes come out and just it's almost like a reset, and everyone just comes with a different mentality, and it's like a freshness where I think everybody plays their best because of that, So there's that piece of it, and then you have the atmosphere and the adrenaline of it's like if you lose, you're done for most teams there. Right, and there's a finality, and it gives you this little extra adrenaline. And then all these guys I'd say most of these guys are growing up with the what's the Final Four, the one shining moment, and you have that thing, and now everything's back to you get hot and win 4 games in 4 days or 3 games in 3 days, and that's a lifelong dream that can become a reality, and it's right in front of you. Where what's done is done in the past. And it's a whole new start, and so everyone plays their best. Everybody plays their hardest. Sometimes shots don't go in. Sometimes every shot goes in, and that's the beauty of this tournament, the conference tournament, and then leading into the big dance.
How do you compare your feeling of your team going in this year as to last year?
That's a good question. Last year was different just from the standpoint we clinched a share of the regular season title, and we had our bye, so we had some time to rest and to maybe tweak some things a little bit. Whereas this year, it's just almost not rushed, but it feels like we just got done playing and now we're, you know what I mean? And you're preparing for all these different things. But, I think we're healthy as we were last year. Certainly, we had won 7 in a row going into the tournament last year. Whereas this year, coming off a loss, you get a little bit more that was a disappointing loss and a tough one. But at the same time, I think we're playing good basketball, and we were playing good basketball last year. Obviously, we're just a little bit of a different team, but San Diego State is playing lights out. There's 16. In New Mexico too. There's a lot of teams that can really come out of this thing. And I don't know that I felt like that last year. I felt there was probably 3 or maybe 4 teams that could win it. Whereas this year, I'm not sure you'd be surprised if almost anybody, wins it. And that's crazy to say when San Diego State's playing. They've only lost once all year. I mean, it's incredible. So, but I do think it's a wide open tournament, and let the best team win.
Coaching your second year here, how have you enjoyed Cache Valley, and if so, why?
Well, I love Cache Valley. My family loves Cache Valley. And why? The razor rides are really fun. The mountains are great, and the weather is phenomenal. No, but seriously, it's really the total package. And when I say that on a personal level, as a father of 4, and our 25th anniversary will be coming up in about 5 months. So I've been doing this for a long time and a lot of stops. And the people here, the people are incredible, whether you're talking to my son's high school or junior high, and I can go out, or you're just walking around, or you go to a restaurant. People are so amazingly friendly and kind, especially when you win. But it really has been. It's an amazing place to raise a family. There's no crime. The weather is incredible. I love the outdoors. And then professionally speaking, it's an incredible place to work. Our athletic department, John Hartwell, does a great job, and has helped make our job even better. And then just the spirit and atmosphere. I've always wanted to work at a place where basketball means something to the fans. and when you put a good product on the floor, they'll show up and support you. And there's always going to be, when you're winning, everyone loves you. When you're losing, there's always going to be some, we get that, but they show out, they support our team. And to have the Spectrum and the Spectrum Magic and have the fan support and the crowd support that we have this year, that means a lot to me on a personal level, because I know it means so much to our players. And I've worked on both sides of that, where you have a really good team and really good people and nobody shows up. And that can be a little frustrating after some time, and you don't expect it to happen, but I know how much it matters and I know how special that is when you do have it. So on a personal level and a professional level, absolutely love it here.
Can you put into words, really what's happened these 2 years for Aggie basketball, real quick? I mean, you don't have to go very long or whatever.
Yeah. Why are you cutting me off like that, Al? I mean, what are you trying to say?
I don't want you to have.
You know what? The journey. Hopefully there's a lot more chapters in the book for this season. Obviously, last year's there's a lot of chapters in that book, and it was a special book. I hope there's a long way to go this year. This year has been a quick year, but also a very long year. I just felt like this year we just had to deal with a lot of stuff this year that have been out of our control, and that happens in sports, but it's an agonizing thing because you know how good you can be, and I feel like we've had to hit restart a lot this year, but that's part of the deal. And so what it's been, at the end of the day, in terms of the wins and losses, last year we're 28-7, this year we're 23-8, so whatever that is that 51-15? That's pretty special. We've had some big wins, LSU and St. Mary's last year, and Florida was very, very difficult, and obviously Nevada. And we can go on down the line and get into the NCAA tournament, and hopefully we can back that up again. So all those wins and losses are great, but to be able to do it with, I think, that people that our fan base can be really proud of. I know for a fact, last semester we had a 3.11 GPA, which is for sure the highest GPA that Utah State men's basketball has had in the last 10 years. And I don't know if we have the records to go back farther than that. We probably do. We just haven't researched it that farther back than that. But I think and then I just think there's a lot of guys in our program, and almost all of them, that our fans can back and be proud of and sign off on, if that makes sense, and represents the community of Cache Valley in the state of Utah in a first-class fashion. And so it's been exciting, but hopefully there's a lot of chapters in the book that have been written, but hopefully the book is far from complete.
Sam and Nimi also get all conference.
Yeah.
What can you say about their performances this year?
So Bean was not all conference.
Well,
he was on
third
all. Oh,
team.
is he? Oh, I didn't. I haven't seen anything.
Sam's first team, Nimi's second team,
okay.
And Bean and Kata both made the defensive team.
Okay.
So Sam first.
You know what? It's all three of those guys. Sam obviously is going to go down as one of the greatest players in the history of Utah State and in the history of the Mountain West Conference. Over 2,000 points scored. Number 3 right now has a chance to be number 2 all-time leading scorer, and is the number 2 all-time assist guy, and he's a fantastic defensive player, and just you name it, the superlatives never stop with him. And I think he's number 2 all-time in three-pointers made in league play. So we can just go on and on, but he is certainly a guy that he's a catalyst. And he grew up being an Aggie. He's always dreamed of being an Aggie, and he's a dang good one at that. Nimi, obviously, just with his injury, all league last year, defensive player of the year last year. That kid's been through a lot this year with the injury and not knowing, and you got to go through all that stuff, and that's all well documented. It's amazing to see how much better he is right now than he was a month ago, and just see his progress and how he's moving, how he's competing, and the strides that he's made. He's certainly a high impact on both ends of the floor, and it's not an accident how much better we had been playing, and obviously took a setback the other night, and a big part of it's just his health. And then Justin, we had just talked about working his way into being this level of a player, and he's just a tenacious guy, and as a coach sometimes are we going to be ready to practice today? Are we going to be ready to play today? And then you come in, and we just have a lot of high achievers, and he's just going to be that guy that's all over the place every single day, and that his tenacity and his energy feeds to the rest of the team. what he did, I averaged a double-double this year, which is incredibly hard to do for any player, let alone a guy that's 6'6" and only a sophomore. And what's exciting about Justin is he's just scratching the surface of how good he's going to become.